Coming up on Focal Point.
I'll tell you what these are protecting you from in addition to coronavirus.
Some school districts are open, but many remain closed, so parents felt the need to take it into their own hands.
The solution is simple. Open the schools.
Have you ever wondered about the pink lights on Farm Lane? Well, this week on Focal Point, we'll tell you a little bit more about the MSU Greenhouses.
Coming up on Focal Point, this bed and breakfast experiences all 4 seasons.
Social justice issues have long been kept out of the classroom. So what happens when one teacher goes against the norm? Focal Point starts now.
Hello and good afternoon. I'm Taylor Goldenwise.
And I'm Leah Mitchell. Welcome to Focal Point. We have a lot to get to today. First, Focal Point's Reagan Holgate is live in Mason to tell us about one former school teacher who quit and wants change. Reagan?
Yes, Leah, good morning to you and Taylor. The topics of diversity and inclusion continue to be important topics to have. This is really important, especially for special education teacher Caitlin Thomas, who says this is the reason the lack of this discussions in her district caused her to resign.
Everything that I grew up being taught and that I still believe in is that you value people.
It's a fight for change.
I was just hopeful that the community would be supportive.
To stand up for what you think is wrong.
You can't confine an entire student population to only learning about their white community.
That's what Caitlin Thomas did, and that's why she just resigned from teaching in Mason.
As a teacher, you should be able to talk about current events and help your kids process them.
She wanted to teach her students about the Black Lives Matter movement, but never felt she got the okay.
They weren't going to allow these discussions to happen. I couldn't stay.
We reached out to the Mason superintendent but still haven't gotten a call back. So what's the policy and philosophy in some other area school districts? Here at East Lansing Schools, they say the diversity topic is an important one to discuss.
You can't not talk about it. You have to address it in your class. It doesn't matter what you're teaching.
Glenn Mitchum, the East Lansing Public Schools curriculum director, says conversations in the classroom are important.
We're trying to be a school district that is confronting and interrupting all of those biases.
But there is still work to be done.
It's just not realistic to out of sight, out of mind issues of ethnicity and diversity and social justice.
Caitlin doesn't know if she'll return to teaching.
This has left a pretty bad taste in my mouth for teaching.
But she will continue advocating for change in the Mason community.
Continue to vocalize and support and push for change and tell the district that it's not acceptable. They need to be accountable and they need to take action.
Caitlin tells me that the chances of her returning to the classroom in the near future are slim. Her goal is to continue advocating for change in the Mason community and in the classroom. This means creating an open dialogue about topics of diversity and inclusion. That's all I have here live in Mason. I'm Reagan Holgate. Taylor, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Reagan. Some school districts in Michigan have returned to in-person learning, but others have not. A rally at the state capitol this past week aimed to get students back into the classrooms more quickly. Focal Point's Sam Britton takes us there.
In school!
Sue Nave drove from Kalamazoo to the Michigan Capitol all by herself.
That's right.
Because this is an important issue to her.
They need their peers, they need their teachers, they need face-to-face.
She wasn't really sure what to do.
It's hard, and you feel helpless.
But she felt this was the best way to help her grandkids.
Virtual works for some, but not most.
A rally at the Capitol for parents and kids to make it known that they want to go back to school.
That's right, that's right!
1 year of virtual learning.
Children rarely exhibit severe symptoms, and when they do, they're generally mild.
For grade school,
The mental health cases far supersede the COVID cases.
And college students.
I think the answer is very clear. Get these kids back in school.
Parents and their kids here feel they need to do something to get students back into classrooms.
Young people should not sacrifice educational opportunities in exchange for our livelihood.
For high school students like Connor McLean, it hasn't been an ideal senior year.
It feels like each day keeps repeating itself over and over. I find it so hard to sit down and stare at a screen all day.
But this isn't the first time he's felt isolated.
Summer before my freshman year, I was just alone by myself in my room like the whole summer. And it's just terrible.
Childcare owners like Brianne Mogenberg have struggled as well.
On any given day, between myself and my kids and my staff kids, I've got 18 people in my home, so my kids have to do school. Well, all of this is going on.
Nave's grandkids appreciated Grandma driving an hour to rally at the Capitol.
I sent them a message and they sent me a heart back, so I love you back.
With school having been online for nearly a year now, the parents just want some progress.
And we have 1 year that we have lost. It doesn't have to be 2.
In Lansing, I'm Sam Britton.
So save our kids, open our schools. Thank you very much for being with us here today.
Focal Point News.
2 House bills were introduced in January to give schools more funds for reopening. One of the bills was approved, but the other was vetoed by Governor Gretchen Whitmer. That one would have prevented the state health department from shutting down schools if there were a rise in cases in a particular district.
This April, the main event at Spartan Stadium won't have anything to do with field or football. Michigan State University is moving forward with commencement plans for spring 2021 graduates. The university will host over 50 in-person ceremonies in parking lots across campus beginning on April 30th. Each graduate will be given 2 guest tickets. Make sure you join us again next week where we will have more on which graduates didn't make the cut for the spring ceremonies.
It's a new chapter for the East Lansing Public Library. It's open again after being closed for a year. It shut its doors March 20th last year, pivoted all to virtual programming, and is now reopened. Visitors and staff must follow all COVID protocols. Even though it's open, the library will have limited hours. Some seating and furniture has been removed to make sure everyone can distance safely. While some resources are limited, curbside pickup and mail services will still be available for those who do not feel comfortable coming inside. Director of the East Lansing Public Library, Christian Shelley, said that the community is thrilled that they are open.
Every single person who walked in just said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're open," or "So glad you're back. We missed coming in. We love the library." So that was very reaffirming, and just, we know we need to be open.
March is reading month, so it's a perfect time to reopen on a limited basis. Coming up, the pandemic safety protocols have been effective in not only preventing COVID-19, but also the flu.
And I'm Sade Moore. We are looking at a beautiful sunny day in Mason, Michigan. When we come back, we'll take a look at your week ahead as we move into some slightly cooler spring temperatures. Stay with us.
Let's set the scene. The COVID-19 vaccine is the next part to restart our lives. We can aid in the fight well beyond our nation by checking out a vaccination station. 1 shot, 2 shot, COVID and flu shot. In case you forgot, this is our shot.
52% protection, but let's not forget to mention once you get the second dose, 95% is close. Doing the most to be close to a loved one, together's the goal, and men will be whole.
What's the point? It's in your arm to defend against global harm.
Welcome back to Focal Point. Flu season is coming to an end, but was it ever really here? Focal Point's Brianna Idzior tells us where wearing masks might be preventing other illnesses besides COVID-19.
Times change. Students used to worry about parking tickets and missing the bus. Now the worry is missing a COVID spit test or forgetting a mask.
Although many life adjustments had to be made in the last year, following safety protocols like wearing masks could mean less trips here.
It is actually historically low.
Sparrow Dr. Paul Entler reveals an unexpected bright side.
Not just in our region, but the whole United States.
Flu season didn't come at all.
I haven't heard any cases of the flu this year.
I feel like I was always getting sick last year, and this year I've barely gotten sick at all.
I haven't heard anyone really say anything about colds or anything this year.
Dr. Entler witnessed it firsthand.
We had one case in the hospital.
And the doctor says we can thank those inconvenient face masks.
Being vigilant about washing your hands in those masks, I think really prevented portals of entry of viruses that normally would be there.
And even the new COVID vaccine might help future flu seasons.
The exciting thing is from COVID with this new technology with messenger RNA, I believe further flu vaccines in the future are going to be much more effective.
We've all learned a lot. Doctors learned a lot.
It really opened my eyes up as a physician.
And with those lessons, we may soon be able to greet each other like this again. With Focal Point News, I'm Brianna Idzior.
For more information, you can visit the CDC's website to view the weekly U.S. influenza surveillance report. With flu season on its way out, we can be expecting to see some warmer weather on the way, right, Sade?
Not quite yet, Leah. While we saw some gorgeous warmer weather last week, this week we'll be looking at a little more typical temperatures for Michigan in March. Looking at the weather across the country, the temperatures are rising. Starting in our southern states, we're seeing low 70s in cities like Charleston and Memphis, and mid 70s in New Orleans and Miami. And in our western and northern states, we're seeing similar temps in mid and high 50s, with 54 in Portland and 57 in Los Angeles, and 56 in Boston and 59 in New York. But in the Midwest, the temperatures aren't too high. Spring is not here yet, y'all. Switching over to a closer look at the Midwest, the weather is pretty cool. In places like Green Bay, we're seeing temperatures of 38, and Duluth with a cool 26. However, taking a look at East Lansing and the area surrounding, there are mid and high 40s across the board, with a 44 in Grand Rapids, 50 in Detroit, and 43 in Mount Pleasant. Now for our 7-day forecast, in East Lansing, we are going to be experiencing temperatures ranging in the 40s and 50s and a sunny weekend. But do not get too comfortable. Rain and a possible snow will be here from Monday through Thursday of next week, except for St. Patrick's Day. We're looking at a nice 52. There you have it for this week's weather. Taylor, do you have any fun plans for St. Patrick's Day?
Yes, I think me and my friends are going to head to PT O'Malley's to celebrate. It's no secret the city with the Go Green, Go White campus is a St. Patrick's bar crawl magnet. However, this year, Lucky Day will look a little bit different. St. Patrick's Day is this Wednesday, and the city of East Lansing is anticipating the green beer will start flowing early due to the 11 p.m. curfew for bars. The city is banning more than 15 people, mandating masks at all times in the downtown area, and not allowing lines outside restaurants and bars.
It doesn't have to be an all or nothing approach, but we got to approach it safely. If you can wear the mask, practice social distancing, and avoid those gatherings, then I think we're all going to be okay. So we're just promoting and really pushing those safety protocols.
For anyone planning to go to the bars on St. Patrick's Day, the city recommends finding an outdoor seating area while you wait for your bar reservations.
While St. Patrick's Day is definitely a more popular holiday than the one on March 14th, let's not forget about Pi Day. In honor of the first 3 digits of pi, 3.14, Blaze Pizza is getting into the holiday spirit by offering a whole pizza pie for just $3.14. They're not the only ones. East Lansing's Grand Traverse Pie Company is also getting in on the fun.
Welcome to the Grand Traverse Pie Company here in East Lansing. This Sunday is March 14th, also known as Pie Day. And for every purchase you make, no matter what amount, you get a free slice of our ABC Crumb, one of our more popular pies.
Okay, cool.
These offers are only available in store.
The pandemic has been hard on a lot of businesses, but East Lansing is welcoming 2 new stores. They're right next to each other and across the street from Michigan State's campus. On the corner of Grand River and Abbott, a new Walgreens and Dunkin' Donuts have joined the Spartan family. Now customers have a choice in pharmacies. CVS just sits a couple blocks away. And now we can't have too many donut shops, right? The new Dunkin' is now the closest location to campus. Both Dunkin' Donuts and Walgreens are following CDC guidelines in order to keep themselves and customers safe. Dunkin' Donuts is giving away free coffee for a year to select Spartans between March 8th and March 14th to show that they are excited to join the Spartan family.
Super excited. I love being over here. I love being on the campus and seeing all the beautiful buildings around and all of the college students that come in and order their coffees in the morning before their classes. Like, it's always a fun experience.
For more details on the free coffee giveaway, stop by Dunkin' Donuts on campus to see if you'll be one of the lucky winners. If you drive south into campus from Dunkin', and especially at night, you've probably wondered why the lights are always on in some glass buildings on Farm Lane. Those buildings are greenhouses, and of course, that's where we will find Olivia Santelli live today. Olivia, even in the coldest winter days and during the pandemic, it seems those buildings are never dark.
That's right, Taylor. We are here in the MSU Greenhouses, one of the only places that seems to be business as normal these days. Here is one of the many species that cannot be kept alive from home. We'll tell you a little bit more about the greenhouses coming up.
Shut down businesses. Entire university campuses went dark.
How do you water a plant when you're at home?
But there has been a shining light through it all.
Yeah, those are light-emitting diodes.
On Farm Lane, on Michigan State campus, they've left the lights on. They had to.
Maybe you've seen them, cutting through the darkness of the winter and a pandemic. These greenhouses, a place that could not be shut down.
We have several $1 million worth of research in here.
Chrislyn Petricka heads the MSU Greenhouses, a sort of hospital and incubator for,
I wouldn't even want to guess as to how many different plant species we have in here.
well, thousands of plant species. They were able to continue work even when most face-to-face classes were canceled.
In a lot of ways, we're back to normal. I mean, obviously, we're still wearing masks, we're still social distancing, we're still, sanitizing, things like that.
Not only are there 65 faculty helping with research here, students like John Gove help too.
I help with whatever projects are going on. My professor's working a lot with succulents.
You can't miss these glass buildings on campus.
Plants respond differently to different wavelengths of light.
The light show is on every night at the corner of Farm Lane and Wilson.
Yeah, they get a lot of attention.
So if you're ever wondering what those pink lights are on Farm Lane, just know that the plants inside are being well taken care of by Chrislyn and her team. It's headed back to you in the booth, Leah.
Thanks, Olivia. Coming up, we'll take a look inside one of East Lansing's hidden treasures, a bed and breakfast with a wild name.
I'm Hikar Kudo, and after the break, we'll hit the hardwood and break down men's and women's hoops as they battle their way through the Big Ten tournament. And men's soccer plays their first match of the season inside DeMartin Stadium. Stay with us.
The corner you'll be wanting to go out. Oh yeah! But coronavirus lingers, so you have to have your doubts. Still you want to go and have a drink and mingle with your friends. Yeah! Stay outside and social distance, get together when it ends. COVID is at Rick's and Lanshore, it's at Harry's and at Ooze. Oh yeah! It's at bars all over Lansing and the rest of England too. Oh yeah! So before you go, please spare a thought for those you love a lot. You can still get sick with COVID if you haven't got your shot.
That was good. That was good.
Welcome back to Focal Point. I'm Hikar Kudo here with this week's sports update. Michigan State men's basketball went down to Indianapolis on Thursday for the Big Ten tournament, facing off with Maryland for the second time this season. Michigan State got off to a great start as Malik Hot hit a three-pointer early on, and he would go on to score a career and team-high 19 points. Michigan State led by as many as 12, but Maryland would strike back, hitting this three-pointer to end the first half. They would go into the break with a 4-point lead. and they didn't take their foot off the brakes to start the second. Air Wings drives to the hoop, turns on the spin cycle, and drains it to give the Terrapins a 10-point lead. Michigan State tried to fight back, but it was too little too late as Maryland would go on to advance with a 68-57 win. After the game, Tom Izzo had this to say.
I did a poor job, and the coach got to be able to admit when he did, just like I'd be able to tell you when I think a player did.
Experts say Michigan State has already sealed a spot in the NCAA tournament, so they'll wait in Indianapolis over the weekend to see who they'll match up with at the big dance. Selection show is this Sunday. Well, Izzo and company fell out early. Susie Merchant and the women's basketball team advanced past Penn State Wednesday to take on the Indiana Hoosiers last night. We start in the dying seconds of the first quarter. Winston to the rack and kisses it high off the glass with a pretty finish and brings MSU within 5. How about this from Nia Clouden? Puts it on the deck and absorbs contact for the finish and the foul. 30 points on the night from her. What a night from the junior. But how about Eliza Winston? 13 points for the sophomore, including this deep dagger. Spartans walk away victorious, 69-61. Susan Merchant and the Spartans now move to the semifinals against 6th seed Iowa. Tip-off set for later today at 4:30 Eastern. Heading back to East Lansing, the Michigan State men's soccer team returned to DeMar Stadium for the first time since November of 2019. They faced off against the Northwestern Wildcats on a windy afternoon. We start in the 31st with some Mutatu magic. Fry Mutatu nets this beauty of a curler to give the Spartans a 1-0 lead. Take a look again. What a goal right there. MSU would take the lead into the half. Now we go to the 63rd minute. This time it's Connor George all alone, and he slots this one past Mishovitz to give the Spartans a 2-0 lead, and that'll be all she wrote. Head coach Damon Rensing was just happy to back in East Lansing.
First, we were excited to be back into Martin. Second, we've had a little adversity with some guys not being able to play today, but I thought the rest of the group stepped in and was really good. From all the way back from Isaiah Handspike, to the forward line.
The men's soccer team will play their next match Monday in Indiana. But first, Spartan Hoops fans will be waiting to see if and where the men's and women's teams land in the NCAA tournament. Taylor, March Madness is about to begin. Here's the hope that both the men's and women's squads makes it back and continue their berth into the NCAA tournament.
Yes, fingers crossed, Hikaru. Thank you. From the sports desk, we head now to the entertainment world where Brianna Idzior is standing by in the studio with a comedy-themed report. Brianna?
That's right, Taylor. Being able to have a good laugh has been not so easy during the pandemic, but a local organization and comedian looked to do just that last week, all for the benefit of students.
You hear people when they eat something they don't like, they say it's disgusting. When you're on a diet, it's not disgusting, it's disguising.
Smiles and laughter filled the room at the Comedy for a Cause. The live event was staged by Building 21, a youth-driven center that supports students in the local community through fundraising events. It was also streamed for those wanting to watch from home. Returning to perform for the organization a second time, comedian Joey Aiello says he loves supporting kids who need it.
And I just love organizations that help kids that need help to really encourage them, inspire them, mentor them, show them how to do things they might not the experiences they may have never had, and just that community I think is just awesome.
If you're interested in Building 21's other programs, you can check them out at building21.org. It's been over 30 years since Coming to America first hit theaters. Now in 2021, the new version of the film will be hitting Amazon Prime.
Hey, what you doing back here?
Instead of coming to New York to find true love, Prince Akeem comes to America for the second time to find his son. The film stars Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy, who plays multiple characters throughout. I personally think this is a must-see movie that you can enjoy right from the comfort of your home. Coming to America is available only on Amazon Prime, but is free to those with a Prime membership. That's all for entertainment this week. I'm Brianna Idzior. Leah, back to you.
Thank you, Brianna. In our Focal Point Friday finale, Taylor Gattoni is live in East Lansing to tell us about a charming inn right here in East Lansing. Taylor?
That's right, Leah. This relaxing getaway is in the heart of downtown East Lansing. It's around everything, even a school that's on the banks of the Red Cedar. It's nice to get away while still feeling at home.
Our guests aren't a number, is what I like to say. We like to make them feel at home.
Behind a row of Grand River businesses and next to some favorite Michigan State student hangouts sits a bed and breakfast.
Duck. Wild Goose? Built about 100 yards away from MSU's campus is this oasis, the Wild Goose Inn. Let's take a look.
Al Bay graduated from MSU in the 70s. He didn't want to leave. He opened the Wild Goose Inn 30 years later.
I lived in here when I was a student here at Michigan State.
And the name stuck.
Mine drove me home, dropped me off, and asked, well, Al, what's the name going to be of the 200 we had? And I said, you know, I feel like we're on a wild goose chase.
Every touch of detail adds a little magic to the rooms.
He's always lived in Michigan, so we get all 4 seasons. So I think that was his inspiration to try to, bring Michigan into, the end.
If you've ever walked or driven on Albert Avenue, you'll see the yellow 2-story on the corner.
This was inspired by the book Where the Wild Things Are. In the story, one of the beds becomes a forest.
Al is passionate about his work, and he's happy to call Michigan home.
This is a piece of Niagara Falls when I'm on a trip to Niagara Falls.
And Al and his manager hope that when folks visit, they'll feel at home.
And it's hard to find a job that you actually enjoy going to every day.
The Wild Goose Inn is a hidden gem in East Lansing, where each of the rooms have their own unique story. I might have to book myself a day of relaxation. For now, I'm Taylor Gattoni, live in East Lansing. Back to you in the studio.
That's all for this week's edition of Focal Point, but we'll be right back here next week. In the meantime, I'm Leah Mitchell.
And I'm Taylor Goldenwise. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you for watching.